the Orangetown Planning Board to December 13th, 2023. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Anybody is here for the Noonan backyard dining area plan has been postponed by the applicant, so it will not be discussed or brought up on any matter tonight. Mr. Andrews. Mr. Shrek. Ms. Monahan. Okay, Mr. Mandel is also present. We're missing the McCrory and the Warren and the alternate. Okay. All right, first item on the agenda tonight is the 1021 Route 9W. Please come forward.
Could you sign in and tell everyone your name? So what's your name?
Yeah.
It's Chabard.
How do you spell that?
C-H-A-U-B-A.
Wait, start again.
C-H-A-U-B-A-R-D.
A-R-D. What's his first name?
Pierre.
Yeah.
P-I-E-R-R.
Right, thanks.
And good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Adam Kurland, and I'm the attorney for the applicant.
You want to give us a brief synopsis of what you're here for tonight?
Sure. This property is situated in the R22 zone. It's just under 1 acre. My clients purchased it back in April of 2021. They've done certain renovations to it, interior renovations for which building permits were issued and obtained. They removed a small front porch, and they did increase the height of a wall for aesthetics and safety purposes. And we're here tonight principally for the approval of that wall and for the erection of a deck in the rear of the property. Based upon certain comments that have come before the board, this is my first time here, but from a review of the file, we did reduce the size of the deck to 187 square feet and reduce the size of the wall, or the increased height of the pre-existing wall to 213 square feet. So we wanted to keep it so it doesn't go over the 400 square feet sort of change for the CEA. So really we're here looking for, as it says, preliminary, and final site plan, so we can finish construction of the house. I will say it is under contract, and the buyers are most anxious to close. To date, they've been patient. We're hoping we can close and get them in soon. I do note one of the comments had to do with the plans not being to scale. We were alerted to that on Monday. Mr. Chobard promptly made multiple copies of the larger, I guess the 2-scale drawings. I think he initially had drawings that were 18 by 24 and they needed to be 36 by 24.
I don't think this was the first time we've had problems with plans.
Size? Okay, again,
I know, it's the
first time, I'm unaware.
Let me just go through the comments. Office of Building, Zoning, Planning, Administration, Enforcement, letter dated December 1st, 2023. There are two comments. Department of Environmental Management and Engineering, Town of Orangetown, dated December 11th, 2023. There is one comment which I'm going to read. This drawing is not to scale. Although the drawing is listed as 1 inch equals 20 feet, it does not scale out when measured. It appears to be closer to 1 inch equals 30 feet, but it's unclear if that is the proper scale. The drawing scale shall be correctly labeled as shown. We received the revised short environmental assessment form that was dated 12/5/23 with corrections made, and a small site plan. I think that's,
Dave's letter,
Yeah, you have fire prevention,
Has no
11/22, one comment, which is no comment.
hold on. You can do the one read in.
I can read it. November 22nd, 2023, Dave Majeski, Fire Inspector. Borough Fire Prevention has no comments at this time. And then Booker Engineering, dated November 11th, 2023. The application has demonstrated there are no potential significant impacts with respect to drainage that require mitigation. Increases in impervious area do not exceed levels that require mitigation. The existing drainage pattern will remain the same, and the new impervious area is disconnected from the off-site drainage system. We therefore recommend that 1021 Route 9W site plan be approved for drainage, subject to project comments,
Which there are three.
which there are three.
And that's all we have.
Okay, that's all?
Mhm.
No. Mr. Andrews, do you have any comments or questions?
Yeah, just, we received these two photographs,
Yes,
what is this all about?
I was asked for the lower part of the walls, the two lower walls, if they were new walls or increased to the existing wall. So the picture showed the existing wall on the left,
This is existing one?
that's the existing wall, and the new wall being like next to it.
It looks like a walkway.
Yeah, because this is before the wall is being going up or above. This is the same picture, same picture. But this one is magnified so we can see what it does.
That was work done without permits. That was work done without permit.
Correct.
So is the wall not being built, it's still in the same condition as what it is now?
No, the wall is.
You finished it
Finished.
without?
That's correct. Here to legalize that.
I have nothing further right now.
Mr. Fisher-Henry?
I don't have any questions for the question public.
So Ms. Monahan?
I don't have any questions.
Mr. Farrer? Okay. Do I have a motion to open public portion?
Motion.
Ms. Monahan, second by Ms. Andrews. All in favor? Aye. If anybody from the public would like to speak on this, please come forward. You have 3 minutes in which to state your for or against or whatever your comments will be on the project. Does anybody wish to speak on this project? Second time, anybody wish to speak on this project? Hearing no comments, we have motion closed. Ms. Monahan, this is Fisher-Henry, seconds. All in favor? Aye. Do I have a motion for lead agency? Ms. Monahan?
Second.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Have a motion for next deck? Monahan, second. Mr. Barry, all in favor? Aye. Okay. All right, we're gonna go for a preliminary on this matter.
Yeah, you can do fine.
No. Final?
You can if the
No.
court sees fit.
I don't wanna go for final because the scale is still off on the, that's my opinion, unless the other people
Want to know, I'll hold it, want to know for final?
Bruce needs this again.
I wouldn't have a problem with that if they had built it, if it's correct, if that's allowed.
It can be if we can make sure that the drawing's compliant.
Is,
I mean, we can't issue the permit until they meet the conditions, so if that's a condition, and once the drawing is accepted by Bruce Peters, then they met the condition. That's up to the board.
If I may? We can have the corrected sized plans to scale Friday, Monday at the latest. The board?
Yeah, they gotta be correct.
We actually haven't had one,
Well, I
because
have one,
we're not,
there's a correct size.
Yeah, well, that has to be looked at by the engineers to determine whether it is to scale or not to
Yes.
scale. We've had, and no work can be performed,
yeah, no work will be performed,
because work is, you know, there's illegal,
yes.
no work can be performed on the property. No, hopefully we'll have no problems, everything will be.
Mr. Chairman, if they do not meet Bruce Peters' condition, a permit cannot be issued. Permit cannot be issued, they cannot get a CO, and they will not be able to close on the property.
Okay.
So, I don't know the
It's
answer.
an outstanding issue right now, so we just get, so
Right.
we did find.
Okay, we'll go with, have a motion for final with condition. Oh,
I'll make the motion.
sorry, thank you. Okay, conditions are Office of Building, Zoning, Planning, Administration, Enforcement, December 1st, 2023. Two conditions. Department of Environmental Management and Engineering, letter dated December 11th, 2023. One condition, and that must be met immediately, the updated plan to the Buildings Department. Have a revised EAF 12/5/23. A letter from the Bureau of Fire Prevention dated November 22nd, 2023, one comment. A letter from Booker Engineering dated November 11th, 2023. The recommend that 1021 Route 9W site plan be approved for drainage subject to the above comments, which are three. Okay, that's it, and the condition that, I want to state that on the final, the,
So the scale will be resubmitted,
right,
and
The drawings will be submitted and reviewed and approved by Bruce Peters.
and no additional comments will come due to that change.
right,
Understand?
okay?
How many sets do you need? Just, I know,
Well, you can talk with Cheryl or Caitlin in the morning.
sure.
You have that down, Cable?
I need a second.
Okay, and again, no work can be performed there until a permit is issued.
And please just don't show up with a whole bunch of drawings tomorrow. Please confirm with Cheryl, because I know you're new to the project, but we've gone back and forth with the applicant for a very long time trying to get this right.
Okay.
So we don't need any more paper until we know exactly what we're getting.
I'll do everything I can.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Mr. Second, all in favor? Aye, that's final. And when you come into the office, be respectful of the employees there. Okay?
Thank you all, happy holidays.
what you see?
And who's the person on the end? The two on the end.
Al Vitoli, architect,
Oh,
DATT,
I'm Mirta Quintana,
What did she got in there?
Mirtha. Last name is Q, U-I,
Just speak a little louder. There's no mics down there. I don't know why.
T-A-N-A. Thank you.
Very
this
good.
thing.
You need that?
Thank you.
A brief synopsis on the project that you're working on.
Okay, this project has been before this board for over a year. It came about when there was a partial fire at one of the apartment units many years ago. We went to the board where the client indicated they would like to rebuild the system. They're gonna take down the older units, certain other things, and rebuild them with new units, send them out to apartments, send them out to users. We went to the planning board, got preliminary. We went to the zoning board, got the variances. We went to the architectural review board. We are now here for final. Finally, it's the same project, except we think it's much nicer. It's been upgraded, and it meets all the new standards.
Mr. Andrews, do you have any comments?
You wanna read the
I'm gonna
comments?
read
Wait a
it.
minute,
Well,
sorry.
Mr. Chairman, you're also dealing with two things.
Two things, yeah, I just
You have
found it,
to
right.
Reapproval,
Of the,
again, this was two
subdivision.
separate lots, that,
Right,
so it was a re-subdivision, which
Okay.
did receive final,
okay.
but that time has expired. So it's a reapproval of the subdivision, so we should probably do that first.
Yep, got it here. This is the last minute call I got on this thing. Okay, on the comment, okay, on the Tri-B re-subdivision plan, what is the purpose of the 298?
Purpose of putting them together
No.
is
Yeah, okay,
there are buildings on two separate lots. And in order to consolidate them, and this was discussed at length with the planning board, was very involved in
right,
the courtyard appearance. There is a lot line now, and there's one apartment building on one, and there's another apartment building on the other. So putting them together requires consolidating the two lot lines and getting rid of these lot between.
so I thought there was a final on that last time.
We did, it expired, as Jane had mentioned, because this was taking a while for these, to get the variances and so on, so the
Right.
subdivision expired, we're asking for reapproval.
Okay. The comments here. Office of Building and Zoning Planning Administration Enforcement. One comment, and letter dated December 1st, 2023. Department of Environmental Management and Engineering, Town of Orangetown. Letter dated December 11th, 2023. One comment. That's all I have on the.
That's it for the re-subdivision. The rest are attached to the site plan. The rest are attached to the site plan.
Mr. Andrews, any comments?
I have no comments.
Mr. Shirley?
No.
Mr. Monahan?
No comment.
We have to reaffirm the,
Either reaffirm or do over again. I don't know, and you do have to open up to the public, but I don't know if any members of this present
Correct.
present for the previous approval. It may be just better to do seeker again.
yeah, okay. Sounds, yeah, Mr. Perry wasn't here, okay.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, I was here.
Okay, so then, we have Mr. Nothing comments?
Public comments? I
First
didn't have any
comments.
comments.
Okay.
Public?
All right. Hearing no things, I have a motion to open to the public. Barry? Second. Mr. Andrews, second, all in favor? Aye. Anybody from the public wish to comment? This request, anybody from the wish to comment, sir? Please come up, state your name, address, you have 3 minutes.
Before I do that, I'm still at the time, yeah?
No,
Yeah, but
just
you
say
realize
please,
this
sir.
Right, we came back,
This is for the re-subdivision?
No,
Yeah,
no, please.
Sir, do you understand this is for the subdivision, not the site
This
plan.
is for the subdivision, this is for the subdivision.
This is
it's not the
just to
site
merge
plan.
the lots.
This is for, I wanna talk about the roads, is that part of this?
No, not yet.
No,
Not yet?
Are you here for Gather Lane?
Yes, this is.
Yes,
Gather
this
Lane.
is-
No, this is 5E.
Oh, you're not doing Gather Lane yet?
No.
Oh, okay. So
Different-
Wrong place.
Right place, wrong time.
Site right place, wrong group.
Different project right now.
Anybody from the public wishing to make comments? Hearing none, do I have a motion to close public portion? Do I have a second? Mr. Fisciani, all in favor? Okay, please, excuse us. If you want to talk, please go outside. It's not, I'm just trying to take notes here. Do I have a motion for lead agency? Ms. Lanahan? Sorry. All in favor? Do I have for negative deck? Mr. Ferry, Ms. Lanahan, all in favor? Aye. Go for do I have a motion for final with conditions?
Sure, motion fine.
Okay, Office of Building, Zoning, Planning, Administration, Enforcement, one comment. Department of Environmental Management, Engineering, Town of Orangetown, one comment. And that's it. Okay, do I have a second? Second. Mr. Andrews, seconds, all in favor? Aye. I'm saying this, I'm gonna see it again.
Yes, I know.
And the holiday spirit, you know, Scrooge. Loosen up, Scrooge.
I'm gonna make multiple copies of that letter, and just slip them into all the projects. I'll enjoy that.
The second item on the agenda tonight for Friday. Okay, Tri-B Construction, request the final site plan and super review for, now is this gonna be 120 and 122 still, or is this gonna be combined into one number?
That would be dependent on the 9/11 coordinator, yes.
Yes,
So we'll have to go with them to get all the numbers.
The county sends us an email saying what it
So
is.
we'll do with, okay, so it's on the final site plan for 120 and 122 East Central Avenue, Pearl River, New York. Okay, can you tell us, brief, quick summary on that one?
As Mr. Bradder pointed out, you know, the consolidation of the tax lot lines is to facilitate the demolition of the garage and the older apartment building. Tom became aware of issues that he wanted to resolve after there was a fire in the back, and he wants to upgrade everything, put in sprinklers, and a new facility, et cetera. So we addressed the issues with the Akabor, we've addressed the issues with the variances that we needed, and in fact, many of the comments that Brooker Engineering and DEME have brought up have already been addressed with the detail of the wall, the percolation testing that's been done, the revised drainage report, et cetera. So we're hoping to come before you and get final this evening.
Mr. Andrews?
Comments? No, read the comments first.
Hello, Rusty. Yeah. Okay, Office of Building, Zoning, Planning, Administration, Enforcement, letter dated December 1st, 2023. There are two comments. Department of Environmental Management and Engineering, Town of Orangetown, letter dated December 11th, 2023. We have 8 comments.
Mr. Chairman, if you could discuss number 8.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna bring up.
Yes.
Okay. Comment number 8, drawing sheet number 2 now shows a striped, no parking fire lane along the site's southern property line. However, this fire lane is shown on 3 neighboring property tax lots, 60.20-2-17 NF Macquarie, 6820-2-18 NF Pell, and a very small portion of 6820-2-6 NF 130 East Central Avenue Corporation. The applicant shall provide legal file documentation, easements, deeds, meets and bounds, descriptions, filing information, set for a planning board demonstrating the applicant's right to utilize these properties.
Okay, the situation here is very interesting. This condition existed before my client even bought the property. He bought it over 35 years ago. He has all adverse rights to that property, and as far as we're concerned, it's not necessary. If you want us to mark it as no parking, we will. If you don't want it, not mark it as no parking, we won't mark it. Because this was done as a help to the fire coordinator saying, it's gonna be no parking. I'm going to own the property by adverse rights, and this condition is not required.
The pavement has been, and the plan has not changed. This is the exact same plan that's been submitted all along. The only thing we've done is add a no parking fire lane. If we need to add that on Tom's property and let there be some additional macadam as is and remain as is, as has been there for 30-some plus years, we can do that. The fire lane can be striped. The only thing Bruce is saying is that we've now added a striped parking lot, a no parking line. Everything is exactly the same. This has not changed since the first submission that we made. So we object to Bruce getting involved in the legal issue with regard to the fact that this is the way it's been for 30-plus years. But
And we will not put the painting there. We'll put the painting on property that's not being contested. We'll put that note, that's all.
Doesn't that affect the ability for the fire truck to egress,
No, nothing's gonna
drive through
change.
there?
Nothing is gonna change. It's gonna be just the way it is right now. We're not adding any pavement, we're not taking away any pavement, we're not doing anything to the wall. It's
Is
exactly
any
the way
of
it is.
the pavement that exists now that you're saying has been this way, is it on the neighboring properties?
yes,
Yes, it's
Okay.
been there
and it
for
has been there
35
for
years.
30-plus years.
And you're gonna be labeling someone else's property?
No,
No,
we're not.
we
We're
won't
gonna put
do
it
it.
on
We'll
our
label it
property.
on Tom's property, about 2 or 3 feet inside, so that there's no parking.
But
It's
that-
striped.
But that's not what the plan shows right now, right?
I know, we can remove this, we got this note,
Just now.
2 days ago, but we can, and you wouldn't accept the new plan anyway. So what we can do is we can strike the no parking fire lane just 2 or 3 feet north of where it's shown on the plan.
And that doesn't hinder the fire truck's ability to maneuver in that area?
No, because it's just striping on the pavement. It's not in,
We're not changing anything, we're not building anything.
in other words, instead of the striping being here, it would be here. But there would be 2 or 3 feet of pavement beyond the striping.
So people still aren't gonna be able to park.
Correct, there's no
That's the
parking.
You can't, you
It would be no parking.
But the fire inspector hasn't seen that.
Well, we'll show it
It
to him.
doesn't change the pavement.
And there could be no parking because it's gonna be on his property and you can't park there.
Can they park on the other people's property?
No,
Why not?
'cause how can you park on a 2-foot strip? You can't.
What's beyond the 2-foot strip?
Pardon me?
A railroad tie wall.
A wall? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I believe we have the right to stripe it anyway. He has been maintaining that pavement for 35 years.
Right, but that's not at the purview of the planning board to make that determination.
That's correct, and.
We're not asking.
We're not asking, we're just saying we're gonna move the striping over onto his property, nobody can park there, there'll be a fire lane, and let it be.
Right, but the plan before the board doesn't show that.
Well, as I said, we're gonna modify the drawing, just move that note onto, we're gonna move that note 2 feet, 200 feet.
I would say that you would need to do that and have PRC look at it, Bruce and the fire inspector, and comment on it. I don't know that this board can vote on it at this time.
Jay, have you already made those changes, or no?
The fire lane?
Yeah, what you're describing here, changing the striping.
No, it's a line on a piece of paper, it's this. That's it. It's just striping that line.
Right, but if the board was to say that this could go forward tonight, you'd have to submit revised plans and showing that, right?
The final.
Yes.
Has that drawing been done yet?
No,
How fast can you do that drawing?
a day.
So, if the board doesn't feel comfortable, you could get in, and you could ask to be continued and be on the next meeting then, is what I'm getting at.
You know,
To just show that, so that they're approving a plan that shows it properly.
All right, it'll take me 3 months. And that's just the point is, if the machinations to get before the board is one thing. We've made all the revisions, this is,
It's a big improvement to the downtown area,
Yeah,
all right, and to,
I don't think
to
that's
move
a
a note
question.
to
that's not the question, that's not the question.
well, it is a question, they've been,
We prefer not to delay it another month for one painted line. I think that's the point we're trying to make here. It's-
Well, yes, but as the applicant, there's still a lot of stuff you have left to do before you can get a permit.
that's
So-
right.
We'll make a
So,
condition to
but I'm
permit.
trying to
That's
help
fine.
you, I'm trying to help you along here.
Okay, make a condition to the permit. Make a condition before we can file the map.
It's still not a, up-to-date site plan that we're voting on.
well, but there are other conditions as well that we have to change too. We have to add the total area of disturbance onto sheet 2 from sheet 1. But, I mean, it's a minor detail. It doesn't change any of the drainage, it doesn't change any of the traffic
We
movements.
still need the comments from Bruce and the fire inspector on that.
Well, so we'll leave the fire, you know what we'll do? We'll leave the pavement marking on the, at the edge of pavement the way it is. And indemnify the town from any.
Now,
No, I don't,
I
I don't,
think
I don't
Bruce,
get it.
you know, Bruce is not a lawyer, but I think this is a valid legal point that
No,
he
I don't
made.
think it is, you should know better. He's got
I
adverse
think it
rights
is.
here. He's got adverse rights, it's been there 35 years, open notorious and fenced in. So he's got adverse rights, he doesn't wanna go to court, which is
Ostensibly on
absurd.
the plans, this is on someone else's property, and Bruce is
So we're taking
an
it
expert
off,
in it.
we're taking it off, that note's coming off the property.
very good, and then the fire inspector needs to look at it because it relates
Fine,
to the
then
fire
we
lane.
will show it to the fire inspector, and if the fire inspector says no, then we'll come back to the board, but there's no reason to keep coming back to the
No, we
board.
can have these answers by the next meeting. You still have, it's not like you're gonna get a permit tomorrow. If the planning board was to approve this tonight, you're not getting a permit tomorrow. It's still gonna take months.
That's right, but
So why not just do it right so that it's clean?
it will be clean.
Right, so you gotta change the drawing either way. We're just saying continue and come back to the next meeting. And in that time frame, you can still work on that other stuff, but Bruce and the fire inspector will have an opportunity to review that, and then the board will have a drawing that shows what the actual intent is.
Okay, I'm having great problems with this. We are moving a note 2 feet, okay, even if the note's not even needed, and we're being delayed a month, and I think that's wrong.
You're not being delayed a month.
You have other,
Right,
you have other
it takes
things that have to
time.
be filled in. It takes time.
Yes,
So in
it
the
does.
meantime, project review, I think it's the 30th, this month,
Mm-hmm.
and then we have a meeting early in
No,
the
the
beginning.
28th, yes.
20th.
The last Wednesday?
December 20th is the PRC meeting.
December 20th is next PRC.
20th is PLC. And then the first meeting in December,
Yeah, so if you can have it in, Jay,
and by the 20th, and then we have it
The meeting
right
is
on the first
January
meeting
10th.
of the new year.
and the next meeting is January 10th.
We're talking about less than a month, and you still have all the other comments to comply with anyway. You can't start the work on the property until it's done.
Look, you're gonna do what you wanna do, I think you're wrong, and we have to go along with you, you're the board. But I think you're 100% wrong in this.
Going along with our consultant, the town attorney on this case.
Well, they make all kinds of rulings. I just heard just before you gave somebody a final, and his drawings were not correct. But you gave him a final.
And he wasn't on someone else's property. It was just the scale of the
Well,
drawing.
we're not-
Everything
we're
else
not
was right.
going on his
You're not,
property.
you're, that is not a fair comparison.
Well, we're not going on his property. We are not going on his property.
But that's not what that
property's
drawing
been
shows.
there 35
Drawing
years.
show it.
What?
The drawing show it.
Look, we don't have a choice. I know what you're saying, I'm just telling you, I think you are wrong, okay? But I'd like to continue, because
Yeah,
you
we'll
have
go
other
through,
things.
yes,
Do I-
definitely so. The rest of the
Who
comments.
wants to read the rest of that?
Do we have anything else on that, Kate, or that's it for
You
this?
stopped at DEME, so you
You
wanna
wanna-
pick up at fire?
Yes, we can take care of everything else.
We'll read everything into the record.
Yeah, next would be fire
Yeah,
prevention.
fire 1128,
None of this is in the packet, that's what I was
Okay.
calling up about.
fire prevention 1128.
Okay, we have Bureau of Fire Prevention, November 28th, 2023. There are 3 comments. The Brooklyn Engineering,
No, you wanna go through those?
the 3 comments?
Yes. From the fire, Bureau of Fire Prevention? Is that what you?
Yeah.
Okay. We had a site entrance that was a little bit wider than 24 feet over here.
You're talking the one on John Street?
Yes, no, Central
Central
Avenue.
Avenue.
We have an existing curb cut right in the middle of the property.
Right.
That is being eliminated. The site entrance was being expanded because the fire inspector wanted it so.
Okay.
And we did it to a 24-foot wide
Right.
width. However, the county objected to that. They wanted it narrower. We dropped it down to 20 feet. I spoke with the county. They're okay with the 20 feet, so that answers the question there. And we have it's 22 feet along the east side of the building and 20-foot maximum entrance, and then it widens out a little bit. Meets all the fire issues. Al Datoli and I worked out the exact building height. It is not greater than 29.5 feet, so there won't be an issue that will comply with the aerial access road as we discussed at project review.
And Jay, we also discussed at project review, having an as-built foundation survey before they start framing, so that we make sure everything's set at the right height. Because if they have to adjust accordingly to stay underneath that 30-foot height, that's the time to do it.
We can put a note on the site plan to indicate that an as-built should be provided to confirm building height.
Yeah, foundation as-built. And then an as-built at the end of the job, which is standard, but.
No problem.
Brooklyn Engineering, letter dated November 27th, 2023.
Must continue the motion.
The application provides sufficient information to demonstrate the potential significant impacts with respect to drainage can be mitigated. We therefore recommend that Tri-B LDD site plan be approved for drainage subject to the above project comments, of which there are 11. Rockland County Planning, November 27th, 2023. There are 18.1 comments.
Right, I think, Jay, do you want to ask for
Yeah.
overrides on these?
Some of them, yes. We'd like an override to number 1 because it implies that the town has to keep an eye on this continuously towards the last end of the paragraph to ensure that overflow parking does not occur. I think that unduly burdens the town.
With the ZBA, you got 22
We
units.
got the variance.
Right, the variance.
And they evaluated the parking on-site and found it to be adequate.
And you're not adding any new apartments,
Not adding
you're just
any units.
rebuilding,
Correct.
taking down 4, putting up 4, same amount of tenants, there's no parking sufficient for the current, no, I think we can, do I have a motion to override?
Make a motion to override number 1.
Do you have a second?
Also, number 8.
Hold on.
I'm sorry.
All in favor? Aye. It's based upon the fact that there are no new apartments being added, the same amount of apartments before construction and after construction. That the ZBA has approved the 22 parking spots. Currently, there are no parking problems at that location.
And number 8.
Yeah. Number 8, talks about, go ahead.
Planning water is a scarce resource in Rockland County. Thus, proper planning and phasing of the project are critical to supplying the current and future residents of the villages, towns, and county with an adequate supply of water. The water system must be evaluated to determine if additional water supply demand of the proposed development can be met. Domestic and fire demands of the project must be determined by a licensed professional engineer and provided for the supply of water for analysis. Demand calculation and results of the analysis must be provided to Rockland County Department of Health for review. Do I have a motion to override?
I'll make a motion based on the same amount of apartments.
Right. Okay, second. All in favor? Aye, and that's what, based upon, there's no change in the amount of apartments. No, there's no need for it.
Any other ones, Greg?
No, I think
No,
that's
that's
it.
Thank you. Highway Department, Rockland County, dated, October 17, 2023, they have 3 comments.
And if you note number 2, that's why we reduced the driveway
Okay.
to 20. And I think you have my memo behind that.
Right.
Explaining it.
Okay, we have an email from Jay Greenwald, dated October 27, 2023. Memo, we've raised 3.22 apartments now, and in the past, access to Central Avenue, one curb cut was removed, the other one applied with Rockland County Highway. All right. Anything else? Okay, a letter from Rockland County Planning Department, 10/2023, comments attached. And anything else on that? These packages.
That's it.
Do you have any other? Okay, do I have a request for continuance? It's up to you.
Under the circumstances beyond my control, I would ask for the continuance. Scrooge.
Guys, wait, 1 second. You want to be continued to the next meeting, right?
Yes.
That would be,
January 10th, with the PRC of December 20th. So plans this week.
now the problem is, that, you know what the problem is?
Jay,
Clarkstown.
so plans this week?
By Friday? Get the revised plan by
Yeah.
Friday?
Okay.
When do you want
Correct
the,
striping?
when do you want the as-built in by?
It has to be built first.
It's not built yet.
Okay.
That's according to, yeah.
We'll do the as-built next week.
No, I wasn't sure if it was before or after, you
No,
were talking about the height.
Right, the purpose of the as-built is once they set the foundation and
Okay.
it's built,
To
the
make sure it's
foundation
still
is
29.5.
built, they do the elevations at that point, and then the architect can confirm that the height's gonna comply.
Okay.
And then at the end, when all the framing's done, they do another as-built.
Okay, so we make that as a condition for,
Yes.
I missed the meeting dates, I'm sorry. January 10th is the meeting date,
yes.
and the project review is when?
December 20th, plans
So
by,
then it's reverse. Planning board is the 20th.
No,
No, next week is
Oh,
PRC.
12/20.
12, sorry.
It's a little crazy because of the holidays, so
Gotcha, okay.
12/20 and then 1/10.
Okay, continuance granted.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Take care, good holiday. No. Three other meetings.
do you have your affidavit of posting?
We're gonna take a 5-minute break. Okay, time is 8:15.
Okay, you're back on.
Orangetown Planning Board, December 13, 2023, full back road, time is now 8:18, low, present 4, still present. Okay, can you, summary, your, project?
Sure. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, staff. Leo Schroeder, attorney for the applicant with the firm Blakely Klein Schmidt, One Woodhill Plaza, Fall River, New York. With me this evening, we have Frank Toto from Book Engineering, and the toll brother is David Wolf. Last time we were here, I believe, was back in the summer, back in July. Just for a brief update of the board, and I just want to give you, if it's okay, just a brief update on where we are today. So back then, there was a discussion about I'll start with Gather Lane first. There was a comment by staff about widening the Gatto Lane and Chestnut Ridge. And before I even get to that, this whole project started about 3 years ago. This is a zone change petition that Toll Brothers had filed with the town. The zone change was converted, this is an R40 property, it was changed to R15, which would allow us to use the PAC, and that was done by the town board. Issued a negative declaration of the secret for that, and passed on the zone change, and allowed the zone change in September of 2022. It's worth noting that when we did that, when we received the neg deck, at the time, there was no contemplation of widening Gatto Road, which is currently at 18 to 22 feet, that portion of Chestnut Ridge. Subsequently, when we came before the board and dealt with town staff, there was a recommendation to perhaps widen Gatto. So we went to the village of Chestnut Ridge, because that portion is in Chestnut Ridge. We petitioned the village pursuant to village law, which allows us on a public roadway to ask that the road be widened. We petitioned the village board of trustees, and in the summer we appeared before them twice for that, and we received a denial. It was a very short denial. There's a letter I submitted to your board showing the denial, but there was objectors in the crowd, mainly the residents who front on Gatto and Chestnut Ridge, opposed to the widening, and the mayor and the village board denied that request. But again, I just want to urge that when we received the neg deck, when we were before the town board on this project, there was no, the AKRF and your town traffic consultant agreed with us that the road would remain as is as part of this project. And at the time, it was 40 units, now we're down to 36 two-bedroom units, 55 and older. So we go to Chestnut Ridge, we get denied, we come back here. There was a question as to whether this road was public or private. I submitted a letter, actually, and the building inspector had a good idea at the last PRC meeting to contact the town of Ramapo, which we did.
I have them once in a while.
Yeah, and it was a good idea. So to Jane's credit, I contacted Fred Brin, the superintendent. Again, just so you know, just to step back, the village of Chestnut Ridge treated this road as their roadway, and we showed through deeds and through otherwise that portion of Chestnut Ridge doesn't have any section block or lot number. Private roads generally do, because people pay taxes on those roads because they're private. This one didn't have any of that designation, so Chestnut Ridge said that's their road. Spoke to Ramapo, got an email from Mr. Brin saying, no, we maintained, plowed that road from Chestnut Ridge, and they stopped at the board of Orangetown to turn around. So that was confirmed, received an email, and I believe you also received a list that's on their Ramapo list of roads that they plow and maintain. And there's a provision under Village Law 626 that says when you have a roadway that's been maintained by a municipality for 10 years, it automatically becomes a public roadway. So we provided that documentation to the town attorney, town staff, and hopefully that issue's been put to bed. And I saw recent comments by Bruce who had discussed that, and I think he's hopefully satisfied with that position. So that takes us to where we are today. So again, this hasn't changed. It's a 36-unit, two-bedroom project. We did receive a lot of comments from the county and from other staff, so we'll go through those. But it's been a while since we've been here and since you've seen it, so if it's okay with you, I'll have Frank Toto put up the site plan so you can see where we are in terms of the project. So just to kind of refresh it, because it's been a while since we've been here. So I guess like it was July was the last time we were here. So.
Absolutely. Thank you, Lena. My name is Frank Toto. I'm here with Brooke Engineering on behalf of the applicant. Posted the site plan over there before you. This is a planned adult community. It's a special permit used by the town board, which is allowable in the R15 zoning district. It's currently a 10-acre site located on the north side of Gatto, east of Highland Avenue, and bordering Chestnut Ridge on the west side. It's a 36 two-bedroom condo-style unit, which allows a 40-unit system on the property. The site layout, it currently it shows a 50-foot buffer along all sides of the property. As you can see, we've kind of clustered the units in the center to establish that 50-foot buffer remaining on the property. Ample parking is proposed on the site. 2 garage units and 2 driveway units are proposed for each unit, with 10 additional overflow parking spots located on the northern side of the site. This is a parking ratio of 4.2 spaces per unit, which exceeds the required parking spaces of 1.75 spaces per unit. You know, generously mentioning the Chestnut Ridge provisions. This site currently, as it shows, provides a grass paved emergency access from the overflow parking area onto Dropkey Road. Discussing site drainage, it's pretty much remained the same since the last time we just talked about it in July. Site continues to flow to the south direction as it did under existing conditions. The two basins have been now split up. They were connected as our previous submission, now they are two independent basins operating independently with two independent outlet structures. And they're just two independent systems. They're no longer connected. We are proposing some off-site gutter lane improvements within the town of Orangetown and no longer in the village of Chestnut Ridge, as that was denied. So that has been removed from the site plan and just within the village of Chestnut Ridge. Public gas and sewer electric lines are available to the site. The vertical curve was refined based on Bruce's comment from existing Battle Lane up our private road, about 150-ish feet. So that grading has been altered to satisfy that comment.
And while Frank's just going through his notes, I just want to let the board know too, that this is a zoning compliant project, no variances are being sought from the ZBA for this project, so completely, like I said, zoning compliant as of right with respect to the tax zone, so just to make sure, and that hasn't changed since the project's inception before your board back in July.
Right, the private drive is, a 24-foot, is proposed at 24 feet. There is the proposed turnaround T section, which has been designed in accordance with the town code for a dead-end street section.
Office of Building Zoning Planning Administration Enforcement, December 4th, 2023. There are two comments. Comment number one, comments from the May 5th letter are still applicable, and May 5th letter had 4 comments. For Environmental Management Engineering, Town of Orangetown, December 11, 2023. This letter supersedes the 718 and 721 letters from that agency. There are 24 comments. I have a letter from the Village of Chestnut Ridge dated December 4th, 2023. Comments, 7. I have a letter from Berkeley Pratt, attorney for law, dated November 20th, 2023, that contains the updated traffic study and comments as to Battle Lane being a public roadway. I have from the Village of Chestnut Ridge, resolution number 2023-132, denying the proposed Battle Lane Street improvement application. Resolution was adopted 5-0. That was dated the 7th day of September 2023.
You have the fire prevention letter from 11/28, had 4 comments.
Yeah, from David Juski?
Yep.
You got that?
Yeah, the Collier's letter from 11/27 that had 12 comments. You had the Rockland County Planning letter from 12/4 that had 2 comments, and the 11/21 Rockland County Planning letter that had 19 comments. The Rockland County Sewer letter from 11/20 that had 3 comments. The Orange and Rockland from 11/20. The Veolia from 9/11. And the Rockland County Highway letter, the sign off from 10/16/2023.
Also, you have, a letter from, Veolia and Rockland County Department of Highway, okay.
Right.
They were all getting this from the package. Thank you. Mr. Andrews. Some questions about the landscaping, and some suggestions for you. One thing that overwhelmed me when I looked at this landscaping plan, you're planning on putting in 6,670 plants. That's like, that's overwhelming. The other thing is that there's some, well, let me just back up. Who's gonna maintain those 6,000 plants?
Is that the homeless association?
That'd be the association, yeah.
We have some, we have a lot of switch grasses. It's 1,192 switch grasses. The switch grasses that are gonna go around the, I guess the overflow ponds and stuff. These plants have, they grow 2 to 5 feet, 1,100 put into that area is kind of gonna choke each other out. So a lot of them are gonna die. They only have a 10 to 12-year lifespan. I would try and find something else that has a little bit longer lifespan. One that, if you wanna put that many in, one that doesn't, spread as much, that'll choke each one out. The other thing is it creates a bedding for deer. And in that area, there's a lot of deer. I don't know if we want a lot of deer being wet down in that area. That's why I suggested you might want to look at something else. Let's see. I'd like to see you got 4 American abrevieties, 13 of them, and you got 15 green giants. I'd like to see the American abrevieties switch to green giants, make them all green giants. The white spruce is really not a native of of our area right here. You might want to switch them out to eastern red cedars or blue spruce. And if you do that, you could sprinkle in the blue spruce with the abrevieties. The oak leaf hydrangeas, or any hydrangea for that matter, is not deer resistant. I love the flowers. You've got to line up with the rest or something like that sort. The other question I have is, in the letter from Chestnut Ridge, your property out to the north end, you have a 50-foot right-of-way going out to Highland Avenue. 50 foot, that's twice the size as Gasway. Why didn't you
consulting and looked at that, and I wasn't for that idea. This goes back when the zone change was being done, if I recall correctly, that was looked at even back 3 years ago. As far as in terms of alternatives, that was gonna be emergency access, correct?
That's where the,
In
but
terms
the
of right of
emergency
way.
access is going out to the other road. Correct?
Emergency access.
Can you show us the emergency
Yes.
access? Yeah. Okay.
So this is our main access through the existing gravel lane here. Emergency access is on the north side, coming through here, connecting into Groton.
Right.
Yeah, on the turn.
On the turn. So that's the north end of the property, correct?
Correct.
So where is Highland Avenue?
Highland Avenue is down, further east.
That's
Sorry, west.
That's incorrect.
Okay.
It touches it.
Excuse me,
Excuse me, please be quiet out there, we'll correct them, we'll straighten it out. We do not want comments from the audience, all it does is, it causes problems for the stockholder, so please. So, the north end of the property goes out to, that's the opposite end of Gatto Lane.
Yes.
So you have a parcel that goes out to Highland Avenue.
Are you referring to this, curve as,
Yes.
Highland Avenue?
I believe so. Isn't that Highland Avenue? That's
right.
right.
That's Rocky Road.
Rocky. Look at this on Google Maps. There's a parcel that comes right out onto Highland, and I'm not sure, but that's. There is a parcel that comes out.
Eventually, somewhere there.
Eventually, yeah.
Avenue on your title sheet
Right.
plan,
It's property.
it's like Highland Avenue, and then it perpendicates into, it's like, but that's the one.
Chester Ridge is Highland Avenue.
This is Highland.
Right.
And then
This is Highland
this is
Avenue.
what he's calling
So
it.
this is the emergency access coming out to Rocky.
Correct.
So this is Rocky.
It is not legal.
No, it's not labeled there.
Right, it's gonna be later.
Okay.
Because if you read the comment from Chestnut Ridge letter telling that they rejected the widening of Gravel Lane, comment number 5, they suggest that why wouldn't you run out on Highland Avenue, which is a full 50-foot right of way, and it's less overgrown than Gravel.
That's not Highland, it's not Highland. It's not Highland. It's Rocky. The memos are correct, that's not,
It's a boat, it's a
right, but it's,
Rocky and Highland.
right, and Orangetown is East Rocky.
Right. But there's no houses around that area or anything like that, right?
There's some gravelly windows to use of that access right there. There's the existing home right here, and then the existing home right here.
And how far apart are they? I mean, that's a 50-foot right. That's what a road is.
You wanna know how far apart the houses are from each other?
Oh, they're close.
Approximately 180 feet.
So you're gonna cut a road through here 50-foot wide. I just, Chestnut Ridge sends this letter to everybody. You said it was considered, but it was turned down by a traffic report.
Yeah, it just, the
Why
traffic,
was it
the
turned
traffic,
down?
I mean, just the history here, because I know I'm gonna hear it this evening, but the residents of Chestnut Ridge, this has been going on for quite some time, the rezoning. We had meetings back, I would say maybe 3.5, 4 years ago, at the Knights of Columbus. I remember in Blaubelt, we invited folks to come, and from day one, there's always been objection from the Chestnut Ridge residents about this project. They've come out. And, the irony here is that we went to the village of Chestnut Ridge to make Grotto Lane wider at sidewalks, and it was unanimous no. But the same people who came out were the same people who said, well, There was a tree that came down, blocked my access, so, widening it would maybe resolve that problem, but we were turned down. The same folks showed up, the main board decided to say, well, we're not gonna do it. It's an Orangetown project, and that was a sentiment, it's Orangetown's concern, and they denied the road widening. And you can see the resolution, they heard us for 2 meetings, and said, well, we're not gonna widen it.
But that was Gatto Lane.
It was Gatto Lane, right, but as part of the rezoning, when we did this, again, don't forget, this is an R40, we went to R15 to PAC. We had our traffic consultant look at it, AKRF, the town's own traffic consultant, looked at it, going this way, and we discussed even that emergency access about being a full-through traffic and ingress egress, and we were told no. So this is the way that was designed, and your town traffic consultant blessed it when we did the zone change. So Chestnut Ridge, I know what they're doing, I can see it, I mean, it's as clear as day, they don't want this project, they never did, so.
But they're suggesting that you come out over there.
No, they're suggesting that we go through, we have Orangetown as the main point of ingress and egress, not using Gatto Lane, that's what they're saying.
I understand,
So
but
right now,
they're
the
suggesting.
entrance and egress is in Chestnut Ridge.
Correct. Right, and you already have a subdivision in Orangetown that's already existing, okay, in the back, that's been there since probably, I'll show you.
East of the site.
Right,
Right. An existing subdivision.
right, there's a whole bunch of Orangetown homes that are back there already.
That currently uses Gatto Lane as access.
And there's
Yeah,
a-
it's a development.
Correct, so there's a huge development back
About
there.
32 homes.
Correct.
But
Which has been there, I believe, since the 80s.
I can see where you're coming from, but my point is that Gatto Lane, the way it is, could probably become your emergency access from the fire department.
Yeah, that's not what was discussed nor what the town wants, not what Orangetown wants. And that was discussed, we went through that.
Not what Orangetown wants, or not?
No, Orangetown doesn't, yeah, the town of Orangetown was happy with going through Gatto Lane at 18 to 22 feet in width, which is currently what it is today. Your staff recommended that we widen the roadway. It wasn't recommended by anyone else but the town. And we said, when we acquiesced in it, we said, okay, we'll give it a shot. There was no guarantee, again, don't forget, it's an as-of-right project, we were trying to make it better. We went there and they turned us down. So I can't do anything with that. And they want us to say, well, don't go through Chestnut Ridge, go through Orangetown and come in that way. We looked at that, our traffic consultant looked at that, AKRF looked at that and said, no, this is the way, and they were happy with that being just emergency access. And that's how this project was designed.
Do we
Going
have
back.
those reports from AKF?
I believe they are part of the file.
Yeah.
I mean,
We spent the town board meetings, the same crowd that's here tonight came to that town board meeting when they changed the zone, giving the same arguments when we went through this. So again, this letter from
so
Chestnut
wait, a
Ridge,
minute,
it's a
you
little,
went through this
the zoning,
for zoning,
and we had to present this plan to the town board.
to the plan, to
Mhm.
the town board.
Correct, in order to do this. And the same residents we're gonna hear from tonight,
So, but this is one plan, and this has been going on for 3 years.
correct,
And you insist that we use Gatto Lane.
because that's exactly what your consultants recommended that we use as well.
There was no consideration for the other end of the.
We talked about that at the town board during the zoning process before the town board. Everyone who was here stood up, and there were others who stood up about that.
So everybody was against either end.
Correct. No one wants this, the folks at Chestnut Ridge don't want this project. That's bottom line.
I'll yield any more questions until I hear from the public.
No, my questions were answered about the access lane.
Thank you.
Sorry.
That's mine. That's fine. But I'll show you what you want to see.
This is what I shared with you, right?
Nope, that's mine.
What am I? Is that it? Is that one?
This one, yeah, that's it. That's yours.
So it's the Chestnut Ridge letter, again, so, I don't mean to harp on it, but that you are getting pushback from the residents, they don't want the additional traffic, they don't want the additional, that you're adding to this. But you don't have another solution.
But that's, we tried, your town staff recommended that we widen the road, but again, I will repeat it again. When this was looked at, when we got a negative declaration from the town board on this project, on the zoning, with this iteration, again, it would start off at 40 units, we went down to 36. There was no recommendation when we did the zoning to widen that road. That came in after. So we got a negative declaration that there are no adverse environmental impacts at the current state of the road without widening it. And that was through AKRF, through our consultant, and the town board. When they gave us a neg deck, they looked at the traffic impacts, and they gave us the negative declaration at that current width. That came later on in the process to widen the road. Again, we tried. So it, you know, as much as folks here and others would like to think this kills the project, it doesn't. It's just, we tried to make it better, we were turned down, and now we're back. And again, we go back on our reports that said that this project is not gonna, it's not gonna affect, okay, the traffic on Gatto. I mean, you have both the towns and our consultants have said the same thing on this issue.
I guess it's hard to understand how adding 36 units that have 4 parking spots each, plus 10 additional, so you're adding, I can't do math in my head, you know, I heard someone say they can't do math in public once, so I think that's funny, so adding that much traffic and additional parking and people doesn't add to traffic.
Your town consultant was satisfied with the access, ingress and egress, and emergency access as it was presented before you tonight.
So it was so different, right? So they were satisfied with it, but doesn't mean it doesn't add traffic and add an impact to the people that live there.
ACARE, I'll just read you, they agreed with the report's conclusion that there were no significant traffic issues anticipated. And ACARF agreed with our report's conclusions and findings. And again, it should be noted that that original report was based on 40 units, 42 bedroom units, not 36.
And Chestnut Ridge wants you to build sidewalks?
No, we were going to build sidewalks as part of it, and again, the mayor and the board said no.
Right, we proposed a 26-foot road, continued to Highland, with a curb and a 4-foot sidewalk, and improved drainage, to improve the drainage on Gatto Lane. That was rejected.
And we met with the village engineer for Chestnut Ridge, who was in favor of the road widening at Chestnut Ridge. And he even got turned down by the mayor and the board. Because the original proposal was to widen it to, when we met with the village engineer, was to widen it to 26 feet. And we had, the village engineer of Chestnut Ridge was in favor of it, but when it came down to the public meeting, the public came out, and the board said no.
Okay, and that would probably be because you are now taking over people's property.
We're not taking over anyone's property. It's a public road. There's no property being taken over.
It was within the right of way.
It's in the right of way.
In the right of way.
Yes, but do they have existing grass?
But those comments were saying you're taking my property, but again, I believe the mayor also acknowledged that it's not their property, it was part of the right of way.
Okay. And then there were some other comments about drainage, and that, you know, I know that drainage flows south already there, but some things are missing your catch basins and some of the things. There were some comments in there too from drainage report. Can you, like, explain how you're gonna address that?
Yes, do you have a comment you're specifically looking at?
I lost
Is it
copies.
Bruce,
I'm sorry, I tried to steal your stuff.
Sorry.
is it Bruce's letter?
Yeah, it's from Bruce's letter.
You're looking at, I believe the comment you're looking for is it number 15?
The profiles you're talking about?
All right, so I can continue trying to find it here. I'm sorry, I thought I highlighted it, but I don't know where I put it. So that's it for now. I'd like to hear what people, the public say, and we've heard it a lot.
Mr. Parrott? Yeah, so this is a tough one, right? You know, you're basically, you know, hamstrung by Gatto Lane. You know, when this was developed back in the 80s, you know, this was sound planning of using open space and, you know, loop streets and things like that. And now you're trying to squeeze something in, right? And I think to everybody's point is, now that this additional, you know, traffic in here, You know, you got all these people in Gatto that are stuck in Gatto by this one street. You know, we're really gonna be taxing this road pretty. It's in poor condition as it is, and, so I think the towns need to come to a resolution on that, that's for sure.
I mean, just to one point, I mean, when you say squeeze, it's not squeezed in, because I mean, we analyzed this going from what an R40 would look like, what an R15 would look like. We presented it all to the board, we showed them conceptuals of what it's gonna look like. And this project actually preserves more space than you would a conventional subdivision in that area. Because here we have buffers, you wouldn't have that in a conventional subdivision in a single-family zone. The second thing is, again, it's zoned for it now, and it's hard for, I mean, listen, we're land use professionals, right? So we have to go by, your traffic consultant said, this road's not gonna be taxed. This proposal, given that it's 55 and older, will not have an impact, and that's what we have to go by. So it's your consultant who said that this was okay.
So I'd like to hear from the public, that's all.
Okay, I have a few questions. Yeah, so at the landscaping plan, I see, okay, a total of 17 evergreen trees. Just looking at the east side, where some of the houses are on Orangetown Lane, you have 75 along there, it's about 35% of your total. I'm looking at it, there's just a couple of spots that I was looking at on this would be on the east side. I'm sorry, did I say the north side? On the east side of the property. There's just a couple of spots, looking at where it seems like there's, because I see the way you stagger it, it does present a full screen across the way. I was looking at between buildings number 9 and 10, when you look straight out going east, looks like a section there, and it's hard to see on the other one what's currently there, but I don't think there's any evergreens in there. So that I would just recommend that a few be put in there. And the other place would be opposite building 18. That's, building 18. We have some large trees there. However, it seems like there's, you have plantings, both sides of it, that screen. But maybe take a look there, I don't know. And again, it says the remaining existing vegetation to remain, but it's hard to see exactly what that vegetation is. You see what I'm talking about? It's 4 large trees there, which would be AS certificates on that. AS would be that would be the ACE, that would be the sugar maple. Okay. Somewhere where they are, you have 4 of them planted there. You may want to just take a look and see, depending on what's currently there. Okay. And there's quite a few trees, it seems like you've come up with a plan of staggering it all around the area. And Mr. Andrews' remarks about the deer and that, we should take into consideration. You know, they seem not to like the green giant arborvitae as of this year. Who knows, actually, but the other arborvitae they love. They'll have everything cut at about 5 feet, there won't be anything growing. So take a look at that and say where they like to bed down. She's doing it
I think those arborvitaes are around the pickleball court, the ones that feel like, so it's not gonna screen anything.
Right.
Because they're gonna chew right up to where they can reach, and that's it.
right now, that emergency access, it's gotta be on DM's 18, it's gotta be shown and labeled on there as the emergency access that goes from the site to Rocky Road. We'll take a look at it, there's houses on both sides, and this comes out on a turn, which I think at the project review, if I remember rightly, they did not like the idea of anything coming out on a turn as it was. Number 20, excuse me, number 20, This is from, DEME. He said must be approved in writing by highway and the town attorney, talk to highway, you got any, comments back from highway as to that road being definite as the emergency access? I know it was reapproved by the town board, in the site plan as is now, on the second time around. So, but I think it's gotta be walked, and we have to take a look at that. All right, now that emergency access road, the fire, yes, on that one, that can hold 75,000 pounds.
Yes.
Ken, what are you gonna use, grass pave or the cab?
Grass paved.
Grass pave. So that, how wide is the actual emergency road gonna be width? I know you can go from the property line, but what do you have there, 50 feet long?
20 feet for the grass paved width.
Okay, maybe 20 foot wide. That leaves you, what, 15 feet on each side?
Yes, 15.
Okay. You're gonna be have to talk to the highway department on that. We got that for you?
No, we were hoping at some point, we see preliminary, the sequel first, and then preliminary, so we can go to that for, at that point.
Actually, if you receive preliminary, you have to return to the town board.
Right.
Yeah, town board, right, and then,
Yeah,
Correct.
showing that the plan has
Right.
not changed
correct.
from the original plan. That's still,
Let's skip the step, sorry.
yeah, that's still the plan that was originally,
That's the same one. I mean, originally, again, it started at 40 units,
or you
but
went down to 36,
36
yeah,
at the request of the town board.
down board, right.
It hasn't changed other than, some engineering detail that was made, but that's the plan.
Okay.
When we go back to the town board, is that a public hearing or just to go back to review the plan itself? Public hearing? Thank you.
Lino, do you have the affidavit?
Email to CCP, he's got to bring it, but he'll bring it tomorrow. Or I can-
You need to do it, right?
Yeah, if you want to throw it out, yeah. I can notarize it.
Nina, come on over to the,
Oh,
it's in the back.
is it that? Where is it?
Right in the middle there.
Good.
No.
I'll have him do it. My son will.
Collier's bid interview
Yes.
on November 27th, that's the most up to date.
Yeah, November 27th, yeah.
That says it's not, they can't approve it for drainage, they're not recommending it.
Is that what it is?
You want to send it out?
Oh, it says it be approved.
Yeah. Whatever.
No, it says they need additional information before they recommend the plan be approved.
And 27 is the most recent one that I have.
November 27th, 2022. Due to the comments listed above, additional clarification and information is necessary before we recommend Gather Lane site plan be approved for drainage.
Actually, they didn't approve it. Right. They wrote it in a way that it looks like.
Which look at the,
Okay, Collier's,
colleagues over here.
Yeah.
Collier's page 3 of 3, last paragraph, last sentence.
November 27th of 2023.
end up before we open it up? I think we probably have quite a few people want to speak. At this time, it's probably appropriate to address, Ms. Yanni raises a very good point. Without drainage, I don't think you can vote for
No.
preliminary. So maybe everyone should be briefed, and even the applicant be advised that continuance is almost definitely going to have to be requested. And no vote is going to be able to take
Right,
place
no
tonight.
vote.
Yeah, that's fine, we'll continue the case, subject to the drainage, we'll get that. So,
Right, so
we-
does everybody understand that the planning board cannot take action tonight because the consulting engineer has
Could you
stated that
explain what the drainage issues are?
we can't do that. If you want to foil it, that would be rather
There's
extensive.
a letter from Colliers that we can take a look at.
It's on the table.
Yes, the
Yeah, from
letter's on the table, and you're welcome. Everything is also available in our office. If you want to see each particular item, it's 3 pages. But their summary is they recommend that it not be approved for drainage, which means they cannot vote for preliminary approval this evening.
Thank you.
And in terms of continuing to the next meeting, do you want to do that now, or we wait till after the fact, January? Because we're gonna, obviously we consent.
We're gonna read, one more letter going to the record. Town of Orangetown Office of Recreation and Parks, January 11th, 2023, setting the condition of payment in lieu of parkland.
Right. I do believe that was read in, but we just wanted to make sure that you
Yep,
saw it.
received,
We
yeah,
know there's been a number of continuations, so,
you got it, thank you.
Yeah, you don't think you'll be ready for the first meeting in January because
I'll ask Frank that question.
No. all the revised drawings would have to be in by Friday,
I don't know what the room.
and there's also not room. We have a full agenda.
We're already
Yeah,
collecting
so, all
for
right,
the February.
What's the February meeting?
So I know that we are already collecting for the February meetings, so I would just suggest, asking to be continued and make your submission as quick as possible.
Is there any way to get on to request for the February meeting? I'm just trying to keep it on
They
on
can
track.
request, and if it's
You-
not complete, then
you-
you're
Right,
not.
I mean, that's fair, so
You can-
if we get it in on time, we'd like to be on the February
What are our
meeting.
dates for
Let me-
We're just gonna have to look them up, hold on.
I don't know if the dates were changed.
So if, you
I
know,
think
that's
it's.
I'd rather have dates certain in February if we have.
Isn't it the 15th instead of the 14th?
I would recommend following the
Okay, Mr. Chairman, the board going to, allow for public comment at this time?
Reasonable, yeah.
All right, you'll go for public comment, go ahead.
Okay, so Caitlin can go back in the schedule. After public comment, we'll confirm the date.
Thank you.
How's that?
Okay.
Okay, but
Do I have a
don't do the
motion to
public
open to the
comment.
public?
Oh, she has to
You have to
write
write-
names and addresses of people who
You
don't
know,
wanna wait and
I can,
check the
I
dates.
can do it. Go ahead. Whatever. Okay.
Do I have a motion to open the public portion? Mr. Monahan, second. Mr. Ferry, all in favor? Aye. Okay, public portion. You have 3 minutes to speak. They ask, since there are a lot of people here, if the person in front of you said exactly what you want to say, give us your name, your address, and say, and I concur, or whatever you want, I agree with all the comments by the prior person, and I'm going to the record as such. Okay?
We'd also like, Mr. Chairman, the name and address of all speakers. for the
Yes.
record.
That's what we
Thank you.
do.
For the record, name and address, please. Spell your name for the stenographer. Who would like to come up first? Sir?
Come to the microphone. What's your name, sir?
Good evening, I'm Jonathan Lockman.
Wait,
I'm a
let's
village
spell it.
planner for
Spell it.
Chestnut Ridge.
Jonathan, spell your last name.
Jonathan,
I'm sorry.
Lockman.
Wait, you're going too fast. J-O. Oh, I know how to spell Jonathan. What's your last name?
Lock,
Oh,
man. And I wrote the December 4th memorandum for the planning board of Chestnut Ridge. So
Did
you've
you
got
say it was
that
the
in the
Chestnut Ridge
record
plan?
as well. And my address is 156 Route 59 Suffolk. I'm with Nelson Bolton Voorhees. We're consultants to the village of Chestnut Ridge, and I've been working with the planning board and the trustees on everything from local laws to the comprehensive plan that they adopted a few years ago, and go to all the planning board meetings. So, first of all, thank you for studying our December 4th letter so carefully and taking it so seriously. We really appreciate your consideration of that. I think that this is a little simpler than the discussion tends to become. It's easier to access the north going to Rocky Highland at the L curve. There's more room. Highland is straight, is 50-foot right-of-way. Rocky, Gatto Lane is narrower. It's going to be better to have access to the north. I understand Mr. Chiaretta's point that there's a lot of momentum on the idea of taking the main access of the development to Gatto Lane. I think it's a better idea to access it from the north. The village of Chestnut Ridge understands that there will be a project here. And there's two ways that the project is going to have access. Either it's going to be on the south or the north. Chestnut Ridge would prefer the north. I'd be happy to answer any questions. So I think the memo explains it in detail.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your comment. Next up, please. A hand up. Do I want to speak? Oh, come on.
Can't see me.
No, you can't. Come on, please, come up.
Thank
Come
you.
up.
What's your name?
Jane,
Jane.
N as in Mary, I-R-A-N as in Nancy. And I'm at 133 Gather Lane for 47 years.
I'm sorry, is that just the Ridge, Orangetown?
Is that Chestnut Ridge or Orange?
That's Orangetown.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you.
First of all, thank you, Mr. Andrews, for bringing it up about the access to the north. We have lived on Gather Lane, as I said, for 47 years. And in those 47 years, we have only one way in and one way out. I don't know if you're aware, but years ago, we did have an incident where a fire truck from Pearl River came into Gather Lane for a call, and a tree fell across Gather Lane right in front of the property that Toll Brothers is proposing to build on. Now, the only problem was that fire truck couldn't get out, and nobody else could. And it was a snowstorm.
3 days.
3 days we were stuck on Gather Lane, okay? The only way we could get, and Orangetown could not remove the tree until Chestnut Ridge came and plowed out the road.
Sir, one at a time, please.
And O&R had to get in to get the wires in down as well.
Sir, could you please hold your comments?
He's helping.
That's no good for the.
So at any rate, we complained about that for a number of years. The fire chief, the fire department came, and the fire chief came to the meeting at, in Blauvelt that you had a year ago, a couple of years ago, whatever, and he as well agreed that this was a very dangerous situation. We don't know how the town approved this in the first place so many years ago, considering it was the only entrance and egress, but they did. There was supposed to be an emergency exit from Gatto Lane, which was on the south side of Gatto Lane, through the woods to May Road, but that was never, there's a chain there still. 47 years later, there's a chain across the road, and that's it. There is no road. It's overgrown, trees, shrubbery, etc. So you're putting another, besides the 30-odd houses on the loop on Gatto Lane in Orangetown, but an additional 36 units for people in danger because they won't be able to get out if another tree falls or something else happens. School buses couldn't get in at that point. At any rate, that's very dangerous, and the egress to Grocky would be much preferable than Gatto Lane. All right, even with the proposed improvements to Gatto Lane, which it does need desperately, but that's besides the point. One other question regarding the emergency access road now, egress planned with these grass pavers. What happens to grass pavers? Do they get overgrown? Who's gonna take care of that? Who's gonna maintain that that exit is available should we need it? And with a chain across it, it will be a problem for anyone to get across it as well. So I would hope that you would consider the egress from Grotke would be much safer for everyone involved. Because that way you'd have two exits to Gatto Lane, both the original one onto Highland Avenue and Chestnut Ridge and to Grotke. It would just make it much safer. I would yield my time to the rest. Thank you very much.
Next person, sir. Okay.
Good evening, my name is Robert Arturi, I'm at 163 Gatto Lane,
Spell your last name for me, Robert?
A-R-T-U-R-I.
A-R-T-U-R-I.
Is that Chestnut Ridge or?
Orangetown. I think a lot of what's you've been hearing tonight has a lot to do with the fact that the zoning change went through against your suggestions. You on the planning board called this high-density housing. You yourself said, this just doesn't fit here. This isn't meant to be here. So you have to understand where we as a residents are coming from. Be that as it may. The traffic study, which Chestnut Ridge alludes to, which said there'll be no measurable impact, was done during COVID. Nobody was driving in COVID. In the back of my mind, I cannot understand the rationale behind saying there'll be no change in the traffic. Chestnut Ridge is wondering the same thing. The people who have moved in on Chestnut Ridge are wondering the same thing. About 36 more cars at least. Okay? Nobody's going to be playing pickleball all the time. They have no clubhouse, they have no swimming pool. What are they going to do? Drive in and out. Okay? I like the fact that you folks are understanding where we're coming from. All right? The zone change, I have no idea how that got passed through. And my concern here is if you, with all the power you have, deny this and say you don't want it, that somehow or other the planning board's going to overrule you. I don't know what the hook is with the planning board to get this done. It never should have been done. This does not belong here by any manner, by any shape or means, okay? And I'd like you to just really understand that and push that this, with all of the things that are going on here, this just makes no sense. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next person like to speak, raise your hand.
First, I'd like to hand this to your members. I think that's 5 of you. And I'll give one to that.
What's your name, sir?
My name is Vincent Kissel, Kissel, 139 Gatto Lane, Pearl River, New York. First of all, if you take a look at Exhibit 1, first page, this is a planning board decision from 1974, July 10th, 1974. If you look at page 2 of that planning board minutes, I have highlighted the sections of interest. The meeting was for a preliminary review of the map of the subdivision to be known as Meadowlark Village. It can be concluded from when, if you look at the highlighted area, the sentences, that a condition of the preliminary approval for the developer was required to improve Laurel Road as an emergency access road. Obviously, the board added this condition because they realized that upon completion of the subdivision, 29 more families would be residing in houses that were only accessed by way of Gatto Lane.
The Ramapo segment of Gatto Lane traveled way, the pavement area, is only 21 feet wide. As you go through to the property of the parcel that's being developed now, that's right now 21 feet wide. I think they have planned to make it 30 feet wide. Gatto Lane, where I live, is 40 feet wide, the traveled way, not the right-of-way. The right-of-way is 50 feet, but it's 40 feet pavement. So what happens now is people go from 40 feet to 21 feet into Ramapo. It's a bottleneck. And that's why they expected in 1974 that we should have an emergency exit. Look at page 2. Page 2, exhibit 2, I should say. That's the emergency exit. Look what it is. All it is a wooded area with a chain going across with a lock on that chain. That's our emergency exit. It wasn't used in 1983 when the fire truck got stuck. They couldn't get out or in their way. And I don't even know if they have the key to that lock anymore. But that's the emergency exit. So it was useless. Okay, look at exhibit 3. Now we're going to look at a little bit about history. This is a map of Flower Ridge, which was drawn in 1901. And the road that you're talking about, Highland Avenue, I know you were confused with names. Highland Avenue is sometimes called Convent Avenue, and it turns into Grotke, but sometimes that's continued to be called Highland Avenue. So Highland comes down to Grotke, goes into Highland, but that Highland is in Chestnut Ridge.
Sir, time's up.
That's 3 minutes already?
3 minutes.
When you're having fun.
I didn't even get to the point.
Thank you for the
If you look at the rest of it, you'll see there's a road that actually, in 1927, goes from north to south. Look at Exhibit 4. There is a road there already planned.
Thank you. Anybody else like?
Do you have a copy for the record?
Hmm?
Can I take, thank you.
That's okay.
We can get a copy too at some point.
Oh, did he do it?
No, he's taking it back.
He's gonna take it back.
He's taking it back.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Name and address, please.
Hello, I'm Joanne Johnson, and Joanne is spelled Joan Johnson, 26 Gatto Lane. We're the last house in Chestnut Ridge before you step off my driveway here in Orangetown. The proposed widening that they were asking about is 24 feet. It's actually 35 feet by the time they get done adding sidewalks. So that would take a good portion of my property, the property next to me, and the property at the beginning of the house, the street from Highland on to Gatto. That's why we were upset, and that's why we fought it. It isn't just another 3 feet, it's another 13 feet. It's a lot of property being taken away. And it's not just Chestnut Ridge that are against this. You have the people of the houses down there, say there's 40, I don't know. I would say 36 are against that being built, and the remaining aren't. They like their peace and quiet, and so do we. That's what it's there for. The review board, and I'm going to quote the guy word for word, said, "This being developed is like putting 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag." And that's his words. He did not want it built. We don't want it built. There's no need for it. It's a beautiful piece of property. Mr. Lane had the right years ago to put 8 houses on 1 acre and leave 1 acre undeveloped. Now, he chose not to touch the property. He left it. He did nothing. And now they want to come in and put massive amount of growth on that street, and it's just, it can't handle it. It can't take it. There's no need for it. It'd be overpopulating that area. And you know that anybody who moves in, first of all, they're going to have to start at $850,000. And then you have HOAs and school taxes and property taxes. That's a lot of money to have to be connected to your neighbor and be, it's just an overburden. If you want to see what they want to build, go up to the Airmont exit, get off, make a right, and you will see the homes they are planning on building. And they may be a Fortune 500 company, but I've done research on them, and you should too. There's a lot of outstanding court cases against these people. for what they have left when they got done, which I have a feeling they will do in Orangetown also. I would appreciate it while you're driving around, looking at the beautiful Christmas decorations, swing by Gatto Lane, see why we want it to stay as it is. Drive over to Brocky, see the sharp curve where they want to put the exit. It's a beautiful piece of property with a lot of animals on it, and we'd like it to stay that way. And I would appreciate it, just take a few moments, drive by, see it for us, see how we want to keep it. I
It was
appreciate
Friday
it.
yesterday.
Thank you very much.
Next person like to speak? Step up.
Okay. Randolph F. Johnson.
Okay, Randall. F. Johnson, Johnsson.
Common spelling, yes.
And what's your address?
26 Caddo Lane, Chestnut Ridge. I agree with everything everybody already said, so I won't add to it, but I just have a couple questions. They love to tell their side of the story, how they come up with their facts. Is it public roadway or public access on Gatto Lane?
Public roadway.
Okay. You got that in writing, how it became public roadway? Because if it was public, there's no sewers there, there's no drainage of any type. They left it the way it is. Okay, I'm glad you all taking the time to listen. You gotta look, if you want to get out in the morning, would you want to look at a blight next to you of 36 single-family homes? When there's all R35 zoning and R15 single-family. You've got to walk out your deck and look at this blight of high-rise apartments, they call them condos, of 55 and over housing, and things of that nature. And one more thing, if it was somehow built, what happens when the 55 and older people allow their divorced children to move in with grandchildren? It happens. You can't throw them out because of COVID. You know, we can't evict people. So now you have a lot more vehicles. And one more thing, the curve is horrible on Grotke. It's actually, part of it is actually in Orangetown and in Chestnut Ridge. And just, you saw the things. It said, it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit. The county says it doesn't fit, the state says it doesn't fit. And there's nowhere for the water to go now, so I don't know if it's gonna magically evaporate from their holding tanks and ponds. That's it, thank you.
To just answer your question, Gatto Lane is listed on the village of Chestnut Ridge, New York City roadway inventory.
Okay.
So it is a public street.
Public street, not public access
No,
street.
public street.
Okay. There's no sewers on it whatsoever, no
Public
drainage.
street, though, it's listed as such by
Yep.
Chestnut Ridge. The next person would like to speak. Sir.
David Silverstein, S-I-L-B-E-R-S-T-E-I-N.
I'm sorry, S-I-L.
B-E-R.
B-E-R.
S-T-E-I-N. And I'm at 134 Grotke Road in Chestnut Ridge. I will point out I'm within 500 feet of that curve, yet I get no mailings for any of these meetings. Obviously, I concur with everybody here, we don't want this project. Because I'm on Grotke, I obviously would prefer the exit to be on Gatto. But more importantly, when you look at Chestnut Ridge's position, it's not so much traffic on Gatto Lane, it's traffic on North Highland. Gatto only goes out to North Highland. North Highland has a ton of traffic already. It has a synagogue already, which means we have people walking on the side of the street in the dark, especially Friday and Saturday through the Sabbath, which is very dangerous. There's been a fatal accident on North Highland in the past. Right. So, as a constructive concern, if you move it to the north, anybody who wants to go to Pearl River will have to drive by that synagogue and the nasty curve. If you come out on the south, you can go to Pearl River without passing those conditions. Only if you want to go to Nanuet would you go from the south, would you go out there. For the builders themselves, I heard tonight there's an access road to May. If you made the access road to May, Chestnut Ridge has nothing, you don't impact us, we can't really say much about it. So So yes, we certainly do not want this, we want to keep it the way it is. And yes, that corner on Highland and Gatto, where their easement part comes out, it doesn't come out as a T, it comes out in the middle of that curve, and it would just be super dangerous to go in and out of there. It's much easier to go out the South Highland side, but again, I'm a little biased because I live on Grapke, and I'm gonna see that happen. So when you're considering it, look at North Highland and everything that's going on there, because that's the issue. Right now, Gatto dumps onto North Highland. If you added a new road that went to Maine, it takes a lot of pressure off of our side of the street. Thank you.
Does the person like to speak? Please come up. Would anybody else like to speak on this matter? Hearing none, do I have a motion to close the public hearing? Mr. Barry? Mr. Shiani, second. All in favor? And since we don't have
So if you want to be continued to the February 15th planning board meeting, that would be a PRC meeting of January 24th. You'd have to submit by the 19th of December.
So we'll consent to that continuance for the February meeting, and obviously condition upon us getting our documents in time to you.
you have to get it in for the project review?
Can I just,
January 19th?
So it would be
You said
No.
December or January? December 19th?
December 19th.
Yes, it's got, yeah, it's got it sent out. County requires minimum 30 days.
We have to send
December
that?
19th for the February 15th meeting.
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
with the January 24th PRC.
Got it.
Okay, so you're asking for a continuance. Definitely take a look at the Collier's report on the
We will.
and Bruce's.
If I just add a couple of points that were just made, and I just address them, Chairman, real brief. So, look, and I've said this before, because again, this has been a while now. We understand change is difficult, no one likes change, and we've heard these comments, and again, I understand it. That being said, things do change. This project, again, was approved zoning wise. And I know there's a comment that, people wanted to see things, keep it the way it is. And I got that. I mean, you've been living there for a long time, and I'm sensitive to that. But again, we've been through this. The zoning now allows this project. Obviously, we're gonna do what we can to make it as best as we can. There was another comment about traffic, how they looked at the COVID counts. That's not true. COVID was done during COVID, but they also supplemented it. They looked at the 2016 counts. Those were factored in at a 5% increase, 5.7% increase per regional transportation plan, 2045, prepared by the New York Metropolitan Transportation Council, and those comparisons still came to the conclusion that, and again, your traffic consultant, AKRF, said that this would not have a drastic traffic impact with respect to this project. So again, there was a comment that was made that this was just done during COVID. That's not true. It was analyzed and looked at pre-COVID as well, and those figures are factored into the traffic report.
And the traffic comments, you're talking about the letter from, Hardesty and Hanover?
Correct.
November 14th, 2023?
Correct, Chairman. So again, I just wanted to make sure those items were corrected for the record, because I know those comments were made, and that's all I have this evening. So we appreciate your time.
Okay, continuation.
Yes, sir. Yeah, you can say it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You still need the affidavit?
Yeah, we'll get you that. Yep. Is someone still in a notarize? All right, Don.
you want us to keep you posted?
Yes.
We don't have
Have a happy holiday.
Okay, we're gonna go on to other business. We have other business, we can't have that man talking about it.
Thank you, discussions outside would be appreciated, and thank you for your patience.
Thank you.
I did, yes. Are you getting better?
I knew I looked at you, I knew I knew.
Okay, it's all on camera.
Okay, official business. Okay, with a letter from Pearl, proposal for law amendment to town code, chapter 43, article 4, special permit outdoor parking and storage of vehicles, dated December 6, 2023. Has to do with storage of vehicles on large parcels. I think Blue Hill probably does it.
Yes, but the town board made the provision during COVID because Blue Hill is 50%, more than 50% vacant.
Right.
And they have a very, very large parking lot, obviously a very large piece of property. This way for them to subsidize income. So it has been like this for about 2 years, and the board did review this plan for the parking and approved it. So it's expiring, the, COVID provision. So the town board is moving to make it actual part of the code with the same restrictions. It has to be a certain size parcel and things like that.
Anybody have any comments? Alicia?
Why wouldn't they just rent, I mean, just asking a question, why wouldn't they just rent a space in one of the Blue Hill parking lots and then they would be grandfathered to use that parking lot for those vehicles? This is the Blue Hill we're talking about, or just?
Blue Hill is renting out their parking lot
Right.
to somebody else. That's not allowed in our code,
Okay, it's not allowed.
because that becomes a commercial parking lot, and that's not permitted. So this provision was put into place to help offset their loss of revenue. And now the board is considering making it permanently part of the code.
Okay, if I have no comments, we have a motion, there's no objection to the town board acting as lead agency. So move. Second? Barry, all in favor? Aye. And
Is there a restriction to the size the parking lot has to be before they can rent it out?
It's based actually on the size of the actual lot.
Right.
Yeah, so there is.
So
And then
they can't
it
just
still has
rent
to
it.
come before you.
Okay.
So yes, they have to conform to the regulations of that section, and they would still need site plan approval as the, Blue Hill may not have to come back, but if anybody else, any other property, say Liberty or one of those other places wanted to do it, they need site plan approval.
yeah, and this one from NIAC, the zoning board of appeals, whether they want us to comment on it or?
If you
the local
want to,
jurisdiction?
you don't necessarily have to, it's just it looks like they're putting a roof over an existing porch, covered porch, taking the deck and making it a covered porch.
That should be up to local determination then.
Yes.
Anybody have any comments? Ready,
No,
we have
you said
minutes?
ninth, up to local.
Yeah, determination.
General, standard.
What is standard line?
You don't have to comment at all, it's up to you.
No.
You don't have to send a letter.
Okay, then forget it. We don't have to, bother. And we have minutes?
Minutes of November 8th.
We have a motion to approve the minutes of November 8th. So moved. Mr. Andrews?
Second.
Ms. Lyon, all in favor? Aye. We have a motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn. Mr. Lyon, second by Ms. Andrews, all in favor? Aye. Get it started.